Hello and welcome back to Business Newsletter Recap. My name is Nathan Pohl, paid media specialist at Tommy's Express Car Wash franchise by day and podcast host and business nerd by night. I've racked up thousands of hours of business podcast listening and newsletter reading, and on the show, I curate the top business newsletter content and share it in audio form. That way you can catch up on your reading in the car or snow blowing your driveway. Each episode, I'll be featuring specific editions of 2 to 3 newsletters that I found most insightful. If any newsletter is particularly beneficial to you, I will have links in the show notes to follow the creators on social media and sign up for the newsletter for yourself. If you missed episodes 1 through 3, go back and take a listen. We unpack a lot of great newsletters around marketing, time management, branding, and business growth that you won't want to miss. At only 4 episodes in, I'm also looking for positive or negative feedback for what you would like out of the show. We're starting off today with a selection from Bootstrapped Giants, a newsletter written by Jesse Pujji and Andrew Warner. This one is one of my personal favorites, and I've been subscribed almost since Jesse launched this. Jesse's the founder of several companies, most notably Growth Assistant, Ampush, and Kahani, as well as running a venture studio called Gateway X. He posts a wide range of startup content on LinkedIn and X based on the many lessons he's learned growing several successful businesses, and you may have heard him on a few business podcasts as well. I find his breakdowns and stories extremely valuable, so be sure to give him a follow. This edition we're highlighting was an instant save in my inbox when I read it earlier this year, and I have seen it shared amongst coworkers as well. It is titled How to Grow B2B Sales and lays out the metric that matters most for a B2B sales team, meetings per week. Jesse explains how meetings are seated perfectly in the middle of your sales and marketing funnel. Awareness, interest, and leads flow in from the top of the funnel where marketing controls things. After meetings, you get quotes and sales, depending on your business, of course. Knowing how many meetings you can get then inform both bottom of funnel and top of funnel actions. If you have an established business generating leads through marketing tactics and closed deals from your sales team, meetings can give you valuable data. Simply tally your average meetings per week, or month or quarter if smaller timeframes tend to skew your data. Then calculate the percentage of meetings that turn into quotes, and then the percentage of those quotes that turn into sales. Go the other direction and calculate the percentage of leads that end up meeting with you or one of your sales reps, and calculate how much outreach is needed to get those leads in the first place. Bam! You have your baseline metrics for your entire sales funnel all flowing out of meetings. This also makes for a very precise system for optimizing certain areas of your funnel. Getting plenty of meetings, but they aren't turning into paying customers very quickly? There's likely a problem with lead quality or nurturing needs to happen to account for a long sales cycle. Not getting enough meetings? Look at cost per lead metrics across your marketing channels, or simply spend more to drive more lead volume. Any stage can be quickly scanned to evaluate sales rep performance, marketing effectiveness, and overall pipeline health. This is great for existing teams, but I really liked how Jesse emphasized the value and process for startups or teams without a solid sales funnel. His advice is to set an arbitrary goal of meetings per week and then do whatever you can, whether it's manual reach outs, cold calling, or guerrilla marketing to generate those meetings. From there, track how many quotes and sales came from them to set your preliminary baseline. Because you might be making things up as you go, there will need to be a constant evaluation of these metrics before they become consistent. Frequent review will be crucial before you set your official meetings per week target. Jesse then works backwards in the sales funnel, again from the meeting, to how the prospects got there. You might not have a marketing team feeding you leads, which is fine. You just have to live with the fact that your meetings will come from personal connections or cold outreach. If your network or the network of your sales team is pretty small, this can be a very labor-intensive process to generate meetings. But again, it serves as a data point for how much time or how many outreaches are needed to generate your baseline of meetings per week. A lot of marketing agencies or freelancers can also help you run ads or other marketing campaigns to help fill your funnel. Even if your business doesn't operate by leads and sales cycles, it's crucial that you have baseline metrics established for your marketing and sales pipeline. Meetings fall in the middle of a lot of businesses' pipelines, which is why Jesse labels it the most important sales metric. But the overall takeaway should be how valuable it is to have sales funnel data and optimize your marketing and sales process with it. Our second newsletter of the episode comes from The Sellout, written by Luke Tengstrom. Luke helps founders run their Google ads stress-free at Minded Studio. He also writes a newsletter focused on helping e-commerce businesses sell out their products, which I really enjoy reading. I have 2 of his editions saved for episodes, but we're going to go with the more timely one today. As a guy building his career in e-commerce ads, Luke has access to performance data from a number of companies from Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I really liked his postmortem of the Cyber Week sales that he released a couple weeks ago at the time of this recording. He shares several tips for brands based on the success he saw with his clients. His biggest takeaway is that manually reducing prices online generated a higher conversion rate than offering a discount code. Discount codes are great when you want to give a bonus to a small subset of your customers, or keep track of ad effectiveness by releasing a limited code through a campaign. But on Black Friday, chances are your discounts apply to everyone, meaning that forcing people to use a discount code to get a certain percentage or dollar amount off their order adds unnecessary friction to the process. It can confuse customers who may not apply the code correctly or fail to see it pop up on a banner. This wasn't in his newsletter, but Google Chrome also has a shopping tracking feature in the search bar of e-commerce sites that lets customers know if this is a high, low, or typical price for the product based on historical data. Check it out for yourself the next time you're shopping online. Manually decreasing prices would help Google showcase your product as discounted, which can help consumer trust when skepticism of Black Friday deal quality is on the rise. Another big takeaway from Black Friday 2024 data is that you shouldn't just limit your sale to just one sale. Statistically speaking, people who just recently purchased from you are the most likely to purchase again. Segmenting your Black Friday buyers and retargeting them with an additional offer such as mystery boxes, free shipping, or bundle deals to buy again mid-sale can help drive a ton of additional revenue. Luke shares that he was able to generate an additional 6 figures of revenue for his clients' businesses just by setting up these mid-sale additional offers. There is good reason why even after you buy an item, you often still see ads or get emails about that item. Luke has several other smaller tips in his newsletter, but his last big one emphasizes how pre-sale hype works to drive sales. Most brands generate a massive amount of Black Friday revenue from their email lists, so announcing offers and discounts you'll be running ahead of time via email and SMS had a big impact when Friday rolled around. Customers converted at a higher rate via email when they had already been told about sale prices or discount percentages. Some companies even offered early bird specials or limited access to sales to their existing email subscribers, which also generated a large amount of revenue. Hopefully, this gives you ideas for your 2025 Black Friday and Cyber Monday planning. But if you aren't in e-commerce, this is still a valuable lesson in pricing and priming your audience for a big launch. Hey, quick break here. If your business is advertising to busy professionals, or if you have a podcast with a similar audience, I would love to hear from you. We've got a sponsor lined up for some future episodes, but I'd love to talk and get your message out there in a future edition of the Business Newsletter Recap podcast. Now, back to the show. The final newsletter of the episode comes from Dave Kline, who writes a great newsletter called MGMT Minute. Dave has over 20 years of management experience with Bridgewater and Moody's and is now an executive coach and trains managers and leaders across industries on how to be more effective. His Twitter content is really insightful. So if leadership or management is a topic of interest to you, be sure to give him a follow after the episode. His recent edition on Return to Office, commonly abbreviated on the internet as RTO, was a great one. Return to work mandates and policies have been hotly debated across LinkedIn and in offices around the country in our post-COVID world. So many employees got used to 1, 2, or 3 years of working from home, and so many companies got used to operating remotely. There are tons of reasons why companies have since been trying to slowly, or very rapidly, return their employees to the office, but Dave dives into motives and expectations around doing so. If you have a culture problem in a remote setting, returning to the office will not fix that. I loved Dave's definition of culture that he actually shared in a tweet and not in this particular newsletter. But his definition says, culture is the sum of what you celebrate minus what you put up with. You still celebrate and put up with a lot, whether your team is virtual or in person. He explains that where there is a lack of trust, distance over Zoom or Google Meet makes it easier to hide, but sitting in the same room won't make everyone trust each other more. If a remote team is disorganized, it means projects need even more careful planning. But project planning in an office doesn't magically get easier. If remote employees receive no feedback, the burden of discussing feedback grows higher, whether that is discussed on the phone or sitting face-to-face. In each case, in-person work environments don't solve the core issue. The solution to culture problems is stepping up in leadership. Leading with courage is an intentional effort that can happen with a fully remote, hybrid, or fully in-person team. Leaders are responsible for culture, and it's as simple as balancing the equation of celebrating and reinforcing what you want your team to stand for, and not putting up with what you don't. While your company might not be in the middle of a return-to-office debate, it's still a great reminder that while work setups can amplify culture problems, changing the environment won't fix them. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, you can find sign-up links and more information about Bootstrapped Giants, Luke Tengstrom, and Dave Kline in the show notes. All 3 of these newsletters are hosted on Beehive as well, who I want to give a shout out to. I have no financial affiliation with any of them or Beehive, but I do like their content, and they picked an excellent newsletter platform. And if you liked this episode, you'll probably like episodes 1 through 3 as well. If you have a newsletter or business topic that you want to see me highlight in a future episode, please reach out. My contact information is in the show notes as well, and I would love to hear from you. And finally, if you enjoyed the episode, I do say this every time, but it is 100% free to you to leave a rating on Spotify, a thumbs up on YouTube, or subscribe on either platform or whatever platform you're listening on right now. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Business Newsletter Recap Podcast.